Well, I'm pretty sure my book reading habits are going to get me sent to federal prison. Undoubtedly, here are my literary crimes. My wife and I live in Sarasota, Florida, but we are over the county line, even though we have a Sarasota address. So we're not in Sarasota County, we're in Manatee County. But because it's a Sarasota address, we were able to get a Sarasota County library card, even though we actually don't live in the county. We just don't mention that we didn't mention that when we signed up. And then because we live in Manatee County, we went down and got a Manatee library card. And so we have access to both libraries, even though we only live in Manatee County. So my wife and I are criminals. I guess she's my she's Bonnie to my Clyde. I guess she's my Moll, and there you go. But that's not my only literary crime. I have been buying reprints of The Shadow, the pulp magazine character from the 30s and 40s. And I got paperbacks back when I was a kid during the 70s. I bought paperback reprints done by Pyramid Books. And then in recent years, Sanctum Press has done these really awesome reprints that are facsimile reprints with the original illustrations and the layout and all of that of the original pulps. They're cool. But then a few years ago, they stopped doing them. They hadn't quite done the entire run. They stopped doing Doc Savage as well. And I think, this is just an opinion. I have nothing to back this up. This is just an opinion. They stopped at the time when James Patterson published a Shadow novel, updating the character in some way, or even putting him into the future. I'm not sure. I have not read that book, written or ghostwritten by somebody under Patterson's name. But I believe that the original reprints were stopped so as not to distract from the new Shadow novel. And I have not read the novel. I cannot fairly pass judgment on it. I will say that every single fan of the pulp magazines that has read it thinks it's an abomination. So I will probably not bother with it. But whether or not that is a good novel, a side effect of it, I think, was that these reprints stopped happening. Now, not long ago, a Shadow fan scanned, proofread, and properly formatted every single Shadow novel and made them available for anyone who wanted them on Google Drive. So I could have them all electronically, which is more convenient to read. It means I could be in South Sudan and pull up a Shadow novel just because I feel like it and read it, which is kind of cool. And I've been in South Sudan, so you can't normally get Shadow novels there. So even though those were unauthorized ebooks, I downloaded them all. If they ever come out with legitimately released ebooks, I will buy them. I have no interest in cheating the publisher. But technically, I did download what are not authorized e-copies. So that's my second literary crime. My third literary crime was unintentional. There's a publisher called Delphi Classics that reprints stuff as ebooks in the public domain and puts them out really cheaply. And I was looking at their website one day to see if there's anything out that I might want, and I saw the complete novels of Earl Stanley Gardner. Wow, this is awesome! Like all the Perry Masons, all the Doug Selbys, all the Cool and Lamb novels. All the novels he did, suddenly available. It's just his novels, not his short stories, so it's not his complete works, but still, it's pretty awesome. And I was surprised at this. I thought that a lot of those novels are too recent to be in public domain, but there must have been some glitch. Maybe a copyright wasn't renewed or something. And so I bought this, and it was too big to email to my Kindle to be directly loaded. I had to side load it into my Kindle. It took me several hours to figure out how to do that, but I did it. And now I have all complete works of Earl Stanley Gardner on my Kindle. And then I went back to the website to see if there was anything else I wanted. And look, I didn't notice this note. Look at this note. Estimated US release year 2065. The ebook was only available in countries where his stuff has already become public domain. It wasn't available in Europe or the US. But the website, even though I selected US as my location when I bought it, the website allowed me to buy it. So I think their website was set up incorrectly, so it wasn't blocking people from the US or Europe from buying this. So I bought it with a clear conscience, but I didn't realize that I wasn't supposed to buy it. So there you have it. I illegally own Earl Stanley Gardner's complete novels. I have unauthorized electronic copies of all the Shadow novels, and I have used a unusual aspect of my street address to get library cards with 2 different counties. Now, I'm going to, as usual, be posting this on Facebook. Several of my Facebook friends are former police officers. When they see this, they'll probably be obligated to call the feds and turn me in. So it's a question of whether I should go to prison, and being in jail for minor copyright violations. I'll probably have to make up a story about being mob connected or a bank robber or something in order to keep myself safe. But paperback collecting, book collecting, if that doesn't get me prison cred, I don't know what does. Or whether I should go on the run and become a fugitive. Maybe it'll be like in the old David Jansen TV show, and I'll have a mystery to solve in every village I come through, while I stay one step ahead of the Inspector Jail Bear type who's trying to catch me. So it's a big decision to make. But, I am obviously now a hardened criminal because of my book crimes. And what should I do? And if I do go on the run, should I bring Sherlock with me? And should I bring my wife with me? Should we truly become Bonnie and Clyde? These are the questions that must be answered. And, well, thank you for listening.